Hi friends, it's Danielle with Take Care Mama. I'm super excited for today's video. We are going to watch together a video I put out early this year called The 21 Books I Want to Read in 2021. I'm filming this in November of 2021, and so I'm excited to see how well I did with this challenge that I made for myself, and I thought we'd watch together.
Hi friends, it's Danielle with Take
So
Care
let's
Mama.
do that. I'm a little sad just starting. I am doing an experiment for Christmas where I'm letting my Christmas tinsel show, and I was excited to see what my hair looked like in this video almost a year ago. But alas, I'm wearing a hat, and I think it is to hide the gray, so there you go.
So what I've been reading,
Let's skip to the good stuff.
Free book. The first one, here it is Misery by Stephen King. I'm going to quickly talk about these books. I'm not going to say a ton about them, mostly because I don't know a lot about them. I don't like to know a lot of details about books before I read them.
True.
But Misery, I think, is like my most anticipated King read. It is a thriller, and it is about an author who gets...
Okay, I would not call this a thriller. I think I remember even regretting saying that when I filmed this. It could be a thriller, but I would say more suspense slash horror slash thriller.
Kidnapped by a fan of his work, and that's what I know. I also know that they are the only two characters in this whole long novel, so that's pretty cool. And I think it's really disturbing and creepy, and I'm here for it.
Okay, I guess that was my most anticipated King book. I've read a lot of Stephen King this year. I should have counted. I bet it's 15 to 16, and this is my favorite Stephen King book. It was nearly perfection for me. I loved it so much. I was so frightened. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, which is why I would mainly call it suspense. And, that was a very good book, and you should read it.
Excited.
One for
the
one.
The second one, I'm so excited for this too, and that is 11/22/63. This is a thriller slash science fiction slash historical fiction, I would say.
I would say science fiction, historical fiction. Did I say thriller in here? I don't know. No, it's not really a thriller. I'm learning how to do genres.
I think the protagonist is male, and he...
All right, we don't need to do all that. I read it. I loved it. That was another 5-star Stephen King. I don't think it's like my second favorite Stephen King. I bet it's top 5 though.
Great things about this book, and I am excited. Number 3 is The Green Mile, also by Stephen King. I am reading this in February. This is about a man on death row, maybe several men on death row, and I think the guard is a big part of this story. Maybe everyone knows this. It's a super famous movie. Tom Hanks is in it. I have not seen it. I thought The Green Mile this whole time was a war movie. It's not. Heard my friend Nicole told me it's devastating. So I'm going to be ready, and I'm excited.
Okay. I'm also happy to say I did read this. I think it was a 4-star read for me. I really enjoyed it. And usually I like the book so much better, but in this case, I actually liked the movie better. I watched it right afterwards. The movie, and actually watching the movie made me appreciate the book so much more. It just is such a good story, but I think the movie does a better job at telling it. Very good. So 3 for 3.
Final Stephen King revival. I don't even know what this is about. This to me looks like a story with a lot of religious themes in our spheres. It looks like we have a minister. Okay, I don't know much about it.
Okay, I'm reading this right now. I actually have about 20 pages left, And so I don't know the ending, but I'm enjoying it so much. I think it's going to be a solid 4 stars. Finding something that I love in a book is when religion or spirituality is a main theme, especially in horror. And that's what this is. It has a lot of religious and spiritual themes, and it's horror. And I, as you can see, had always planned to read this year. But it's gotten a big resurgence in the last month because of Midnight Mass, which is not affiliated with Stephen King at all, but this is a show on Netflix that's horror with religious influences, and people loved it. I loved it too. I might do a whole video on Midnight Mass because I have a lot of thoughts. I loved it, but I have a lot of problems with it. But I've seen a lot of people ask, like, what's a book that is like Midnight Mass? And people have been recommending Revival by Stephen King. I wouldn't say it's like it much more than it's horror with religious themes. Like, that's pretty much all they have in common, but I loved both of them. This is about a minister who does healings, and I don't know if I want to say much more than that, but I am very glad that I am reading this book, and I'm excited to finish it probably right after I stop recording this.
I know people really liked it. I think this is one of the newer Stephen King books. King, Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I looked up how to say his name. I hope that's right.
I think that was right.
I've been wanting to read him for a while. I just found out, used to work for the...
Okay, read it. I'm doing good. And it was very good. I'm pretty sure 5 stars. This is nonfiction. And Ta-Nehisi Coates is an African American. And this is a love letter to his son about growing up in the United States as a Black man. And what an amazing writer. I have not read any of his fiction, but I might have one on my shelf, actually. I definitely want to look more into his work and add some to my TBR for the next year.
The Atlantic, which is my favorite maybe. I think the white supremacy, Black man experience. Number 5 is Bunny. I am obsessed with Kayla from Books and Lala.
Still.
I'll link her channel below. I think I'll talk about her for a few more.
I'm still obsessed with her. However, you'll see later. This one was right on. I don't align with her views quite as much as I thought I did.
Books that we go through. And she said she loved this book and it's really weird. And I kind of like weird books. So from what I know about this book, it's about young women, they might even be in high school, maybe college, who are in some kind of...
Actually, I think it's post-college. I don't know. It's college or grad school. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Really continue.
It's pretty much all I know, and I'm excited.
I think I talked over myself, but anyways, I read it. It's horror, very weird. I have no idea what it was about. Even after reading it, but it has cultish vibes, which is another thing that I like, and another thing that I find hard to find. So if you have any recommendations for me, whether it's horror or thriller or even general fiction that has to do with cults, it's something that I really love to read. But this is just weird. It's about a group of young women in this writing program, and they're all prim and proper. They wear pearls and cardigans, and they call each other Bunny. And it's just creepy and like Stepford House vibes. And yeah. This was in my video, like for Halloween, the top 5 scary books that I recommend. Whew, don't read it during Easter. Because you will be scared.
Number 7, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue.
I'm like getting proud of myself.
Release, I believe, and people lost their minds over it. I'm really excited. It is about a woman who makes a deal with the devil that she is going to live forever. But there's always a but. She will not be remembered by anyone. And I think what the deal is, if someone looks away from her, they forget her. So it seems to me like she's not even going to be able to have meaningful relationships with people. It sounds like a really lonely life. I think this book covers hundreds of years, and she travels around the world. And I hear the writing is beautiful. It's by V.E. Schwab. I've never read her before. This is one of like my top ones. I'm really excited to read this.
Okay. Read it. I gave it 4 stars. Here is my thing. I wasn't too interested in the story. I guess the main genre this would fall under is fantasy, which is probably my least favorite genre, though I want to try. And I wasn't too invested in the story, and I had a lot of questions like, there are these rules, no one will remember her because of this deal, and my mind kept saying, well, what about this? What about that? Blah, blah, blah. I got too much in my head about it. With all of that being said, the writing killed me. I love this woman's writing. It was beautiful. I just really appreciate flowery, poetic writing. Her use of metaphors. Ooh, she is a powerhouse. So I gave it 4 stars. And this, from what I understand, is her like most mainstream non-fantasy book of all of her other work. So I'm apprehensive to dive deeper into V.E. Schwab. However, I still want to, and I'm just going to go into it knowing that it's fantasy and I might not be super interested in the story, but I'm still going to check her out because, I love her writing. Follow her on Instagram if you don't, because some of her posts make me cry. She's just so brilliant.
Number 8, again, I'm pretty sure this was a 2020, release.
I hated this book. I think I gave it a 3 stars, and I wish I would have given it a 2. Like, it's so funny how time changes your perception of things you read. And you know what? I'm pretty sure this won the Goodreads award in the fiction category. It just pisses me off. I really didn't like this book. It had such a good premise. Okay, it's about a book and if you don't know, fantasy, sci-fi. There's this woman, she's depressed. I think everyone knows this part. I don't think this is spoiling anything, but feel free to skip ahead. Again, I think you're fine to know this. She kills herself. And she finds herself in between worlds, so she's not yet dead. And she is in a library, and each book represents what her life could have been if she had made different choices along the way. And she gets to take a book and try it on and to see what could have been. Brilliant idea. Executed poorly for my taste. I didn't like anything about this. I didn't like the pacing. I didn't like the chapter size. I thought the author over-explained things. There were beautiful moments and parallels to be thought about internally by the reader, but then the author pointed them out and over-explained them, which doesn't make it beautiful anymore. I think this is the least favorite book I read all year. Oh, man. I'm going to change my rating.
This is actually really cool. I love...
Yeah, you didn't love it. You didn't love it, past Danielle.
It sounds like a really cool concept. That's all I know. Again, that's how I like it. Moving on to number 9. Oh, I don't even have... Okay, I need your help for number 9. I just read Frederick Bachmann's Anxious People, and I was obsessed. I am obsessed. This is my most favorite book I've read in many, many years, and I know he's a very popular author, and I can't decide which of his I should pick up next. So if you are familiar with him and have a recommendation, I love this. So if something is kind of similar to this, I love the style, I love his humor, I would love your recommendations.
Okay, let's talk about Frederick Bachmann. I now know how to say his name, though I'm still confused about how to pronounce a man called Uwe. Not only did I find another Frederick Bachmann to read, I think I read 7 of his books this year, and the last one I read was Beartown last month, and after reading that, I was ready finally to declare that Frederick Bachmann is my all-time favorite author. I love this man so much, and he is a gift to me. Like, I'm not in love with him sexually. I feel like Frederick Bachmann writes books personally for me. It is just so up my alley. He deals with really heavy topics like dementia and depression and sexual assault, rape. And he talks about them with grace and brings in just the right amount of humor to give us a sigh of relief and to allow us to laugh without being disrespectful. I've said this a million times. I laugh out loud and I cry out loud multiple times for all of his books. That has happened to me. And he's very dry and sarcastic, and it is perfection. I think I'm almost done reading his entire works. I think I have 2 more to read to catch up, and then Beartown number 3 comes out in 2022. That'll be on the next video, I guarantee you that.
Comments below. How many times can I say love? Number 10 is The
Love.
Alchemist. I might start reading this week, actually. This has been on my list for quite a long time. It's a fable of someone trying to get some treasure and they learn lessons. I really like fables, and it's a short book. I'm here for it. I'm kind of bummed. I looked on Goodreads and looked up like what my friends thought of it who have read it, and it's very mixed with their ratings. I always thought everyone like really loved this book, but at least in my friend group that's not the case. I hope I look.
Again, spiritual themes. This is a spiritual book. It is a fable. It's about a boy in Spain who finds a treasure map and goes on a hunt for his treasure. And it's very new agey in its teachings, which is what I love. I read The Witch of Portobello by the same author. I love this so much that I had to move on to that one. Both of them 5 stars. Love. I'm 100% so far. Oops. I'm 100% so far.
I'm really excited for this. The next one, number 11, I also have a copy. I'm a library girl, is Specimen Days by Michael Cunningham. Michael Cunningham, I really love. He wrote The Hours, which is one of my favorite books. And you know what? That might be my all-time favorite movie. I love that movie.
I think that's true still.
And I've read at least 1 or 2 more of him, and I got this reading a little.
Okay, I gave this 4 stars, and I stick with that rating. I don't know if I would like really recommend this to people. However, I don't know. It's fun. It is fun. It's 3 different novellas, and they are related to each other loosely, and each novella has a different genre. Yeah, this is a cool book. You should read this. I think we have science fiction, fantasy. I don't know. I don't remember, but I did like it. It's interesting. I'm not giving myself enough credit. I do remember. Walt Whitman is a theme, I think, through all three stories. He's one of the glues that holds the stories together, as well as New York City. I think historical fiction then would be one of the genres. So we get to visit his poetry. I really love Walt Whitman, so that was fun. I don't know. Have you read Michael Cunningham?
A little bit about it. Like The Hours, it seems there are science fiction. 3 different stories. Next month, for my dealer one, I think it was a 2019 release, is The Silent Patient. This is a mystery thriller. And
okay, this annoys me again because, like The Midnight Library, this was so popular. I just saw today one of my friends read this and really liked it, and I'm just so happy for her. It was fine. I guess the twist. I didn't like the writing. I don't know. I am very critical on mystery thrillers, and it's hard for me to find one that I love, which sucks because when you love one, it is so good. Those twists and turns in a book that you love, there's nothing like it. I don't know. He came out with something else this year. I was not interested. The Maidens, and that seems to have gotten a lot of mixed reviews, so I don't know. I'm not interested.
And number 13 is The Woman in the Window.
Now I like this.
Waiting for me at the library.
I get sick
right now. Mystery thriller, AJ Finn. A woman, I think she's kind of a drunk, and she sits at home and looks out her window, maybe drinks too much wine, and she sees her neighbors. It reminds me a little bit of Girl on the Train, reading the premise.
Okay, this probably was my favorite mystery thriller of the year. I think I did an okay job explaining it. Just the plot worked for me, and the what am I trying to say? The pacing really worked for me. There's an adaptation on Netflix right now that I watched and really liked it. My husband enjoyed the movie as well. We don't often have the same taste in TV. It followed the book really closely, so I don't know. I recommend.
The next one's right here, The Year of the Witching. I want to say this was her first novel. And again, Kayla from Books and Lala loved it. I don't know anything about this book. I am interested in reading more witchy books, and this is the one I chose for this list.
I think I gave this a 3 or 4 stars. I don't know why it didn't work for me, but it didn't. I was kind of bored. And it was a little sad.
I think it's
but that's okay.
Here for it. Somehow I left this off my list, but number 15 is Middle Game. I don't know anything about this except that it's fantasy, urban fantasy, maybe even some time travel, and people seem to love it. I'm really excited for this, and I really adore this cover. It is so cool. Okay.
This was probably my most disappointing read of the year. I just had such high hopes for this book, and it didn't work for me. Again, fantasy is tricky for me, and it read YA to me, which, if it was marketed to me as YA, I think I might have liked it more, but Silver Lining, I am actually on book 3 of the Wayward Children series, which is by the same author, and I almost didn't even pick it up just because of my experience with this. And those are more YA, so like I said, I knew that going into it, and I am adoring them. Like, they're not going to get 5 stars, I don't think. But they're just really fun reads. You can read a book in a day really easily. And they're all are giving me House in the Cerulean Sea vibe. So that was a really popular book last year. And if you loved that book and are looking for something similar, definitely check out Shannon McGuire's The Wayward Children series.
16 is Elitsu. I think it's called Elitsu.
I don't think so. I think it's Alatsue.
Again, I'm kind of obsessed with this, Kayla. It looks like a magical realism book. The book I'm working on is magical realism, at least right now. And I like that. I like when everything seems kind of normal, except there's a little bit of magic. And so I'm excited to check this out.
Okay, that was a 3-star for me. However, I don't know why I thought I would like this so much. It is fantasy and YA. I don't love YA. I don't love fantasy. I don't know. It was fun.
Is Split Tooth.
Now this.
This, I think, is about animal spirits. I think it's a little bit like Elitsu magical realism.
Alatsue.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the protagonist can communicate with animal spirits. I think it's kind of a spiritual, indigenous story. If I am wrong about any of this, feel free to confirm.
You're kind of wrong. I would say about this one, it's a short book and it is equally poetry and prose. It's beautifully written. It is spiritual. It felt like a fable. And I adored this book. I'm glad I'm reading this or watching this right now with you because I'm going to be working on my favorite books of the whole year. My top 10, I think, is what I'm going to do. And I might have forgotten about this one, to be honest. I read this early in the year. And I think Split Tooth is in the running.
Correct me in the comments. Ooh, number 18, The Death of Mrs. Westaway by
Read it.
Ruth Ware. Ruth Ware is so popular. I've only tried one of her books, and it was this one. Not this one, but The Woman in Cabin 10. And I didn't finish it. I did not like that. But I know that people really like this author. And so I wanted to try at least one more of her books. I chose this one. It sounds really intriguing. Mystery thriller is what Ruth Ware writes. It is about a woman who needs some cash, and quite unexpectedly, she gets an inheritance from a woman she doesn't know. I think there's a mix-up. They think she's someone who she isn't, so the inheritance isn't really supposed to go to her. But like I said, she really needs money, and so she kind of desperately goes along with it, and maybe that wasn't a good idea. I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for all of them, obviously, but I'm really excited for that.
Okay, I read this. It was a 3 stars, which is mostly what I give to mystery thrillers. But I would see on the higher end. I definitely would recommend this. I think I also put this in my spooky book recommendation video. It was an easy read, just a good, quick mystery you can get through quickly. And it was very gothic in vibes. I love gothic thrillers, and this one, I think, really delivered on the atmosphere. And another kind of cool thing was the main character is a tarot card reader, and that was just an interesting side plot for me because tarot cards are interesting.
Number 19 is The Vanishing Half. I could not tell you anything about... Oh, yeah. This is popular. This is... I think it might be a 2020 book or 2019. I think this is about 2 people who are twins. I think this is about twins. And they are black but light skin toned. And one of them grows up being white as her identity, and one of them grows up being black as her identity. And what happens next, I don't know, but I thought that was a really intriguing concept for a book.
Okay, I read this. I loved it. 5 stars. Perfection. I think I did an okay job explaining it. They separate more as young adults, so it's not like one grows up being white and one grows up being black. They separate as adults. And this is historical fiction. We're actually following a family through 3 or 4 generations, which I love. And a lot of people this year loved The Four Winds, and people who loved The Four Winds, I've been sending them to read The Vanishing Half. I think there are a lot of similarities in the author's writing style, which is beautiful. Especially this one. Her writing is very beautiful. And I think she wrote a book called The Sisters, which I'm hoping to get to in the next couple months. I definitely want to read more from her.
Number 20 is Hood Feminism. I only have 2 nonfiction on here, and this is the second. I think it's nonfiction. Yeah, I took a class called Gender, Sex, and Politics in...
It's called Sex, Gender, and Power. Really bugged me that I got that wrong and I didn't catch it when I edited it.
College, my senior year, and what I remember from that book is that if you are a feminist, you also have to be an advocate for people of color and women of color. You can't really separate the movements. And I think that's the whole point of this book. So it's kind of going to take me back to college days, and I'm really excited to learn more and hopefully what I can do to advocate. But
okay, I did a really good job pitching it, and I did feel exactly how I wanted to feel. I felt like I was in college in Dr. Penska's class talking about feminism, and the author did a really good job at making her case, and it was painful to read how white feminists have treated Black women so poorly. And it, as the white feminists reached and took power that was rightfully theirs, they also pushed away and marginalized other groups of women. And it was very eye-opening. I really, really, really think you should give it a read. Check it out.
And my number 21 book, the 21st book that I want to read in 2021, though these were not in order.
I didn't read it. We got one missing.
Is What Lies Between Us by John Mars. This is a mystery thriller.
Okay. Didn't read this, don't plan on reading it, don't even really remember much about this, so let's listen to me pitch it. There are about 6 weeks left of the year, so I could still get a perfect score.
I just found out about this book, but it seems pretty cool. So, 2 older women, I thought they were sisters, but now I think they aren't sisters. I'm not sure if that matters.
I think they're
2 older
sisters.
women live in a house together. And I think the synopsis was like, they spend their day together, they eat dinner, and then one takes the other back to the attic and locks her up for the night, like chains her to the bed or something crazy. So just spooky, weird backstory. What's the backstory? I think we'll find out. And it sounds pretty spectacular.
What do you think? I do remember putting this on now, but I haven't heard really anyone talk about this since I added this to my TBR, which doesn't mean I won't like it. But I don't know. I don't know if I feel pulled to read this. Let me know. Let's let you guys decide. Vote in the comments below whether or not I should read it. Make a comment either way. You should read it. Do your perfect score, get your 21st book, girl, or read something else on your list. I would like to know. I don't know. I haven't heard much about it.
Those are the 21 books that I hope to read in this year, 2021. I hope it's a good year for all of us. And I think it'll be kind of fun at the end of the year to see how many of these I read. Yeah, I hope most of them.
I would say, good job, Danielle. You did it. 20 out of 2021, and you still have 6 weeks to read that if you choose. This was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know. Oh, if you have watched my other videos before, I'd love for you to comment below if you can notice a difference in sound quality. I'm recording with an external mic for the first time ever. I've only ever done voiceovers with a mic. So theoretically, it should be a lot better, but I don't know if I'm doing it right. So let me know. And have a wonderful week. And I hope you're having such a good day. Staying calm, staying centered. This is such a beautiful time, but it can be rather stressful. So please take care of yourself. Have a wonderful day. And I hope to see you next time. Bye.